Hey Diego, guess what? I have some amazing news to share with you. Hudson, my wonderful son, is getting married to a lovely girl. Isn't that exciting?
What? Seriously? That's quite a surprise. I had no idea he was even dating someone. But that's good for him. I'm happy for him and his bride-to-be. Congrats to him. I kind of feel like it might be too early, though. He's still pretty young. He has his whole life ahead of him.
Right? Unlike your useless self, huh? You still can't even find a girl to marry, and you're almost 30. You're way past your prime, you know. You should have settled down by now.
Marriage isn't necessary to have a fulfilling life. There are many other things that matter more than that. Besides, don't you think useless is going a bit far? That's a very harsh word to use for your own son.
That's a pitiful excuse. You're just saying that because you can't get anyone to love you. And compared to Hudson, you are pretty useless. You didn't even go to college, and you've been stuck with a low-class, minimum wage job for years. You have no ambition or talent.
Can you stop saying that? It's very hurtful and disrespectful. Just because I work in a factory doesn't mean I'm low class. It's a decent and honest job. It's not even minimum wage. I get paid well enough for what I do.
It's a bad job, though. It's dirty and dangerous and boring. You're wasting your potential there. At least Hudson is going to college, so that automatically makes him more successful than you could ever be. He's getting an education and a future.
He's not even working full-time, is he? He works with a part-time contract.
He's going to start his own company. That's what he told me the other day. He has a brilliant idea and a business plan and everything. So if he was working full-time, he wouldn't have time to get things prepared. He's smart, resourceful, and entrepreneurial.
Are you sure about that? I think he probably should have tried to save up some money in advance before jumping into such a risky venture. Starting a company is not easy or cheap. It takes a lot of capital, hard work, and luck.
He's fine. He doesn't need to worry about money. He is still so young and full of potential. He's getting married, and I'm pretty sure he'll bring me my first grandchild soon enough. That would make me so happy. He's such a good son to me. He is everything I could have hoped for. Unlike a certain someone who has disappointed me in every way possible.
Are you talking about me?
Who else would I be talking about? I only have 2 sons. One is a star, and the other is a failure.
I don't know what you're trying to say, but I've been helping you out in my own way too, you know. I've sent you $1,000 every month for 10 years straight, without fail or complaint. That's how Hudson was even able to go to college in the first place.
Why are you acting like $1,000 is a lot of money? $1,000 from you is just nothing but pocket change. It barely covers the expenses of living in this expensive city.
Are you being for real? I started working at age 20, and I've been sending it to you every single month since then without missing a single payment. In the beginning, I could barely afford to take care of myself, but I was still sending it to you. I sent money for Hudson too, when he was still in middle school and needed extra tutoring and books and clothes and everything else.
I don't really care about that anymore, if I'm being honest.
I still care about it. That's a lot of money that I'll probably never get back from you or him.
Hudson said his fiancée is the daughter of a pretty wealthy family.
Is that so? That's great news.
Hudson is so amazing. I'm so proud of him. He's everything any mother would want in a son. He says he's planning a fabulous wedding as well. I couldn't expect anything less of him. He is my son, after all. He has such good taste and style.
I'm happy for Hudson and everything. But in case you didn't know, I'm kind of your son too. Don't I deserve some love and appreciation from you as well?
I didn't ask. I don't care about you or what you think. I'd appreciate it if you'd stop bringing up unimportant things. Anyways, he's marrying a girl with wealthy parents. Oh, and don't come to the wedding, okay? You're not invited or welcome there.
What do you mean? I don't know where that came from. I want to go and see my little brother get married.
Like I said, you're low class. That's humiliating. I don't want to be seen around you. It would be so embarrassing if people at the wedding knew you were my son. As far as they know, Hudson is my only son.
You're still calling me low class. I knew that you didn't really approve of where I worked. But do you really have to look down at me like that? His fiancée probably doesn't even care about where I work. Plus, it's not even that bad. You're just prejudiced and snobbish.
She might not care, but I do. The last thing I want is for you to bring shame to the family name at such an important place. So many people will be there, including her parents. They're very rich and influential, and they might judge us based on you.
Are you being serious? How am I bringing shame to the family? At least I have a stable and respectable job. Stop being so pretentious and arrogant.
I'm always serious. Working in a factory is dirty and gross. You smell like oil and metal and sweat all the time. Why couldn't you be a manager somewhere at the very least? Or better yet, a lawyer or a doctor or an engineer?
Are you not at least a little bit grateful for anything I've done for you? On top of the money, I would help pay your bills too. Whenever you had trouble with the landlord or the electricity or the water or anything else, I would always step in and sort it out for you.
Why do I have to be grateful? You never did anything for me that was worth being grateful for. You never took care of me when I was sick, or helped me with the housework, or listened to me when I was sad or lonely. The money you sent every month was barely enough for groceries. So stop acting all high and mighty.
It really sounds like you just don't care about me anymore. Not that you ever did in the first place. You always favored Hudson over me, even when we were kids. I'm going to reconsider going to the wedding. I'll have to talk to Hudson about it. Maybe he'll understand how I feel and stand up for me.
There's nothing to talk about. I just told you not to come. What's so hard to understand about that? It's my decision and it's final.
I didn't think my own mother would tell me not to go to my brother's wedding. That's so cruel and heartless of you. I thought we were supposed to be family. So you're getting married! Mom just told me. Congrats! This must be really exciting for you. I'm happy for you, bro.
Word get out quickly! I was planning on surprising you with an invitation card. I wanted to make it special for you.
You didn't have to surprise me or anything. I would have been happy with a phone call or a text message. But if you were going to send me an invitation card, that means you were going to invite me, huh?
What? Of course, I'm inviting you. You're my brother. I want you to be there. You're one of the most important people in my life. Why wouldn't I want you to be there?
That's nice to hear. But Mom told me she doesn't want me to come. Apparently, me working at a factory would bring shame to the family or whatever. She said I'm low class and embarrassing, and that I shouldn't show up at such an important event.
Well, I guess she has a point. A factory isn't the greatest job out there, to be honest. I wouldn't be proud of saying I work at one. It's not very prestigious, glamorous, or rewarding.
You're on her side? Come on, man. I didn't think you'd agree with her. You know how hard I work and how much I've sacrificed for this family. But anyway, are you okay on money for the wedding? Weddings are expensive, you know.
Why do you want to know? Are you trying to pry into my finances? Are you trying to make me feel bad about myself?
No, of course not. I'm just concerned about you, that's all. I know you don't have the funds to put on a fancy wedding. Does Mom know? Does she approve of your plans?
Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. I'm sure everything will work out fine in the end.
Figure out what? What about your fiancé? How will she feel about it? That's a huge burden for her and her family. They might not be happy with your situation.
I don't think it's that much of a burden. She loves me for who I am, not for what I have or don't have. She's very understanding and supportive of me and my dreams.
What do you mean?
You're not the one getting married, so you don't have to worry about it so much. It's none of your business, really. Will you ever get married anyways? And by the way, don't forget the gift money. I'm expecting a lot.
What?
I want you to give me a lot of gift money. I know you can afford it despite being a factory worker. You've been saving up for years, right? Can't you spare some money for your own little brother? You can, right?
I mean, yeah, I was planning on bringing you gift money in the first place. But Mom told me not to come, so...
You can just brush that aside. To be honest, don't listen to her. You know how she is. She's a person who just says what she wants without thinking about how it affects others.
She seems to think whatever she wants to think without caring about the truth or reality either. I think she's got the wrong idea about you.
I guess so, but in the end, that doesn't have anything to do with me. Let her think what she wants to think. It doesn't change who I am or what I do. Anyway, make sure to bring my gift money when you come to my wedding. I don't really have many friends or colleagues who will bring me anything. I also might end up asking a bunch of our relatives to donate to my wedding fund.
That doesn't seem wrong to you? Are you really okay with throwing your wedding with other people's money? I don't think you should try to throw anything out of your reach or beyond your means. Small weddings can be really nice too, you know? They can be more intimate, personal, and meaningful.
Remember the gift money?
Are you even listening to me? I know Mom won't like you asking our relatives for money. She'll think you're being greedy and irresponsible and disrespectful. She'll probably scold you and lecture you and make a scene.
So what? I don't care what she thinks or says or does. She can't stop me from having the wedding of my dreams. She can't stop me from being happy.
Tomorrow is Hudson's wedding. You're not coming, right? You better not come. You better stay away from this family and never show your face again. You're not welcome here. You're not wanted here.
Why do you keep talking about this? Hudson sent me an invitation himself, so yes, I am going. He wouldn't like it if I didn't go. It's his wedding, so I don't see why you have any say in who does or doesn't go.
Excuse me? You're not listening to what I say? I said you can't come. What a disobedient boy you are. You never listen to me and respect me.
Even if you keep saying that, I can't just not show up. As I said, he really wouldn't like that.
How many times do I have to explain how embarrassing you are to our family? You have a low-class, minimum-wage job. You don't have a girlfriend. You don't even have your own house. You have nothing to be proud of. Never show your face in front of me again, and never let anyone know we're related.
I've had it with you. Do you really not care about everything I've done for you these past 10 years? I've sacrificed a lot for this family. I've worked hard and sent money, paid bills, and helped out whenever I could. And all you care about is image. All you care about is what other people think of you.
Oh, really? What of it?
Looks like I just wasted my time and money. I spent so long sending money to someone who didn't even appreciate it. Someone who didn't even thank me, or acknowledge me, or love me.
You're such an incompetent man. Everything you do is a waste. You can't even find a proper job, make a decent living, and take care of yourself. I don't even think of you as my son anymore. All you are is a useless piece of trash.
Okay, I get it.
I don't recall the pocket change you always sent over actually being useful. As if $1,000 could do anything. That's barely enough to buy groceries for a week. That's nothing compared to what Hudson has achieved and what he will achieve in the future. You're just a low-class factory worker, and it's humiliating. You better not come to your brother's wedding.
Okay, I won't.
I'm cutting ties with you too.
Whatever. We're strangers from now on then. Fine by me. Then I'm not going to the damn wedding, so calm down.
Thank goodness. Don't ever talk to me again, Diego.
Gladly. I don't want you to talk to me either. Tell Hudson I said congrats.
Hey, Hudson is really upset. What's the problem? Why did you make him so angry? What did you say to him?
What? I thought I said I don't want you to talk to me anymore. I thought we agreed to cut ties and never speak again. Why are you calling me now?
He got really mad when I told him that you weren't coming to the wedding. Why would he get mad? Isn't it obvious that you shouldn't come? Don't you think he would be ashamed of having a low-class brother like you at his wedding?
What are you asking me for? Well, it doesn't matter because Hudson clearly wanted me to come. But I won't, just like you wanted. I already told him that if he's mad, then it's technically your fault. Plus, I'm going to stop sending you money.
What? You're going to stop? Why would you do that?
Obviously, aren't you the one who wanted to cut ties? That means I have no business sending you a single penny. This is what you wanted, isn't it? We have no need to continue this conversation.
What do you mean you're going to stop sending the money? I don't remember ever saying you could do that. You have an obligation to support me. You owe me for raising you and giving you life.
You don't need to tell me what I can or can't do. I've been sending it because I was trying to help my family. But since you cut ties, we're not family anymore. I no longer have any intention of sending you anything. You should have known that was going to happen.
How dare you talk to your own mother like that? You're such an ungrateful and disrespectful son.
Oh, Now you want to act like family. Like I said, you're the one who cut ties. You should have expected this. I was supposed to give gift money to Hudson, but since I'm not going to the wedding, I'm not giving him anything anymore. That's probably why he's upset.
What's this? What does that have to do with anything?
If I don't give him the gift money, then he probably won't be able to pay for the wedding hall.
Just what on earth are you talking about?
I've been lending him a good amount of money, but he still hasn't paid any of it back to me. I was planning on making this money gift the last time I sent him anything, so I was going to give him a larger sum than usual. But hey, it looks like I don't have to worry about that anymore, since I'm not going to the wedding. I don't have to give him anything.
Wait a second. Why is Hudson depending on your money so much? Isn't he marrying a rich girl? He doesn't need your stupid gift.
It looks like his fiancée was already disowned by her family.
What did you say?
Apparently, she was using her parents' money too much, and they kicked her out. But I guess she thought they would forgive her in the end, so she wasn't too worried about it. She invited them to the wedding, and she probably plans to make up with them or something.
If that's the case, then there's no problem here, is there?
There is a problem.
What is it?
It means that he can't depend on his fiancée's parents for money, especially not for the wedding, because his fiancée was kicked out for using her parents' money. There's no way her parents would pay for the wedding. Does it make sense to you yet? She won't be able to receive any type of financial support from her family, so that's why Hudson asked me to give him a large money gift. His savings account is empty. His fiancée doesn't work and doesn't have her own money.
Really? Isn't he working though? Why is he in that situation?
Yeah, he is working, but it's just a part-time job. He's been talking about starting his own business, but it's just all talk. Don't you understand?
What do you mean by that?
He went to college, but he skipped most of his classes. I'm sure you know that. He dropped out in his sophomore year, right?
What? That's ridiculous. He was supposed to graduate next year.
That's why he hasn't been able to get a proper full-time job. Another reason is because he just hasn't been trying. He's just been at home playing video games. It doesn't look like he's trying to get out on his own, does it?
That can't be. That's impossible. Hudson would never.
You can pretend it's not true all you want, but it doesn't change the facts. Nothing will change by complaining to me about it. Why don't you ask him?
I can't believe Hudson was that kind of person. My Hudson. I thought he was an honor student. He dropped out of college?
Honor students? Maybe in middle school? All he did in college was go to parties and skip classes. Anyways, the reason why he's upset now is because he was supposed to get money from me, but now he can't. And it's all your fault. I think it's about time that you understand just how much of a selfish man he's become.
I don't want to believe it.
Well, that's up to you whether you believe it or not. But instead of worrying so much about him, you should worry about yourself.
What?
You won't be able to pay off the loan on the house anymore. You've been over there calling the $1,000 I've been sending pocket change, but you actually can't live without it. Did you even think about that? No, you didn't, because you were too caught up in bragging about Hudson for nothing.
I guess I didn't think about that. I thought Hudson was marrying into a rich family, so I thought things would work out.
Well, that's too bad, isn't it? There's no way he can pay for the house by himself. I don't know or care what you plan on doing from now on, but it looks like you've screwed yourself over by cutting ties with me. You did this to yourself.
Okay, fine. I'll forgive you. You can come to the wedding, okay?
No, I'm good.
Huh? What? You're not coming?
Seriously? No, I'm not. Both you and Hudson are strangers to me. You both are so selfish and ungrateful and dishonest. Go to hell, both of you. After that, Ariana kept texting me in a panic, but I ignored her messages. Hudson also ended up with few guests at his wedding. He didn't set up a payment plan for the wedding, so the venue canceled it on the day of. Hudson was devastated. He blamed Ariana and demanded compensation. And after he drained all of her savings, he cut ties with her. As for me, I cut ties with both Ariana and Hudson and was able to find myself a nice apartment with the money I was now free to use however I wanted. Hudson wasn't able to hide the wedding fiasco from his wife, and they got into fights so frequently that eventually it ended in a divorce. He couldn't go back to live with his mother, so he was homeless and hopeless. Ariana also had to start working in order to keep up with her living expenses. They reap what they sow. There's no way around that.
Hey, Jessica. How are you doing lately? I just had a conversation with my mom over the phone and found out that you're almost finished with your dream house. Is that right? Congratulations on that! I'm so happy for you and your husband. I'm looking forward to your housewarming party. Just kidding. I know you're not the type to throw a big party. That's true. We're so ready to move in as soon as we can. We've been working on this project for months and we're finally seeing the results. Once we're done moving in and all settled down, you should drop by sometime. We can't wait to show you around, Hannah. However, I have to warn you that there's not much fun around here, to be honest. Going out to the city takes forever, which I can't get used to yet. It's like living in a different world. Yeah, it's right. Life there is always so boring. I don't go out often, so I don't have many friends around. I mean, after all, that's the reason why I decided to leave the area and move to the big city. I couldn't stand how boring things got. Even though I was raised there and became fond of my hometown. I totally understand what you mean. But you know what? I'm actually starting to love living here with all the nature around us. I couldn't find that in the city where I lived before. Of course, there are times when I feel the downside of living here too. Sometimes I realize that getting anything done takes a whole day's work, and it's very inconvenient. Not to mention how important it is to get along with our neighbors when it's such a small community like ours. Ugh, it would be horrible to live in a small town with neighbors that hate us, and we need to be careful interacting with them. I totally get how you feel. It was even worse when I lived there as a child. My mother was quite famous among residents in the area. Everyone knew us, so it felt like we were constantly being watched and judged by them. They would gossip about every move I made and criticize me for everything. I know it's not a terrible place overall, but people recognize you because your mother used to be the local school principal, right? How was she like back then? I'm kind of curious. That's right. Although we have multiple schools in the area now, there was only one back in the day. Since she was the principal at the only school in town, many of the locals were her students at one point or another. That's why people recognized and came up to me often, even if I didn't know them personally. I see. Though you might have a hard time because of it, I'm actually proud to have someone like that as my mother-in-law. She must have been an amazing person to take on such an important role and educate so many people. I wish I knew her back then. She seems to be a cool teacher. I guess you could say that, but she's been retired for a while now, but I sometimes forget that was her job. She gave birth to me quite late in her life, and I only remember her as a somewhat outdated person who did everything the traditional way. That's why I tend to see her more as a grandparent figure than a mother. Oh, don't say that. If your mother hears what you just said, she might get upset, you know? She's still quite active for her age and loves to do new things. I guess you have a point there. She's so active for her age that sometimes I get concerned about her health. Anyways, are you sure about having me over at your house? You seem to be very busy lately, so I don't want to be causing you more trouble or stress. Plus, you must be having a hard time making arrangements with my mother since she can be quite stubborn and demanding at times. Oh, you don't have to worry about any of that. It's nothing compared to what we've been through together as friends and family members. We built a brand new house instead of renting, just so that we could live together with your mother and take care of her. You should simply think of it as your own house, you know? We are a family after all. You can feel free to visit whenever you want to. We'll always welcome you with our arms wide open and a big smile on our faces. Are you sure? If that's the case, thank you so much. I appreciate that you feel that way with me. Once you finish moving in, I'll make sure to visit. I'll have to bring some gifts to celebrate this once-in-a-lifetime event. Maybe some flowers, chocolates, or wine. What do you think? OMG, I'll be looking forward to it. Though, I do think we'll be pretty busy getting ready to move for a couple more days. I would appreciate it if you could come over once everything's settled down and we're ready to welcome you in. It would be nice to have some quality time with you and catch up on everything. Of course! I can wait until you're ready. Just let me know when the time comes. You've already started preparations to move in, though, right? Yes, I've been preparing for days with my husband, but it's taking forever. I didn't think it would take so long. Organizing and packing our stuff is only part of the process. But that alone is quite a pain in the neck. I think it'll take a while until we finish the whole process and say goodbye to our old place. You must be tired from all that. Make sure to get some rest when you can. My mother started preparing her move as well, so she's been acting quite busy lately. Like, when I went over to her house the other day, she was emptying all her shelves and drawers. So it was such a mess. I didn't know she owned so many things until I saw her taking everything out. I noticed that your mother has a lot of belongings to bring with her to the new house. It must be a daunting task to do that by herself, so I was thinking of going over there and lending her a hand with the packing. That way we can speed up the process and finish it sooner. Ah, thank you. I would be very grateful if you could do that for her. She definitely needs some assistance with getting the job done. No problem at all. You can count on me. By the way, Hannah, there's something I've been meaning to ask you about your mother. Did she say anything about us when you talked to her? No, not that I can remember. She didn't mention anything specific. Why do you ask? Did something happen between you and my mother? Well, you know how your mother was generous enough to pay for all the initial expenses necessary to build the new house. I've been feeling anxious and uneasy, thinking that she might be displeased with us and having trouble communicating with us directly about it. Has she told you anything about it? I would like to know if we can do something for her. Oh, is that what's been bothering you? What made you think my mother would feel that way? There's no chance she would think that way. My mother has been very excited and enthusiastic about the whole idea of getting to live with the two of you ever since you proposed it. She was very happy to hear that you were willing to do so, even though there are many young couples who prefer not to live with their in-laws nowadays. So, you don't have to worry about anything. It's all on good terms. I really hope that's the case, but I can't help getting worried about it. By the way, I wanted to reassure you that once we have the means to, we'll start paying back the expenses right away. Tell your mother that she doesn't have to worry about the financial issue at all. Of course, we both know that you would do that. We'd never doubt that you guys would keep your promise. My brother said the same thing to my mother the other day, but you both don't need to worry about how we feel. My mother says that she trusts you too. Really? Oh, I'm so glad she thinks of us that way. Tell her I said thank you. Oh no. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think I have to get going now. I forgot I was in the middle of packing our stuff and I should probably get back to business. That's totally fine. My lunch break was about to end soon, so I have to get going too. Well, I hope everything works out smoothly. I'll be looking forward to seeing the new house soon. So let me know when things settle down. I can't wait. Jessica, what on earth is going on? Why did you and my brother refuse to let my mother in when she arrived to move in with you? She traveled a long distance to get here. Besides, she was the one who spent all her savings to help you two build a house. Yet, when she showed up at your doorstep, you left her outside in the pouring rain. Hey Hannah, I'm not really sure what you're referring to. Can you be more specific? Did something happen? Don't play dumb with me. I'm sick of your lies. My mother suddenly appeared at my door with all her luggage in tow. Wasn't she supposed to move in with you guys today? Why didn't you guys let my mother into the new house? Is there a problem with my mother moving in today? Oh, is that what you're talking about? I've already discussed this with your mother, but I guess I should inform you as well. My husband and I decided that it would be better if we didn't live with your mother. If she's not staying here, this isn't her house, right? So I think it makes sense to have her leave. We don't want her luggage when she won't be living with us. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking you to explain why you decided to change plans without consulting either one of us about it. We could have at least talked about it beforehand. Plus, didn't you say that you wanted to build a new house because you wanted to live with my mother? Why would you say that you changed your mind on the day she's moving in, after she's done preparing everything? I mean, you could have said that before construction started, you know? You asked me to explain myself, but there isn't much for me to say to you or your mother. I mean, we never intended to live with her in the first place. She's a useless person. She's old. And if we were to stay with her, I'd have to worry about her a lot. And then I'd be like a nurse to her. There isn't any reason to let her stay if that's the case. Don't you agree? Excuse me? What do you mean? You never intended to live with her? Neither my mother nor I have heard any of this until now. Of course you wouldn't know any of it. This is the first time I brought it up. Stop laughing. I'm not asking for your nonsense. Is my brother aware of all of this? I mean, he has to know, right? You know, your brother and I were together at the door when we told your mother she wasn't welcome to stay with us. So, of course he knows about everything. You and your mother were the only ones who were clueless. How dare you two? I can't believe you guys have the nerve to do something like this without hesitation. So your plan was to lie about wanting to live with my mother in order to make her pay for the expenses all along? I mean, I don't like how you put it in a terrible way, but I guess that's the general idea. Now that you know how things are, forget about it. We don't want to live with her, so it's never gonna happen. Also, remember how I mentioned you could come over to visit us before? I only said that to be polite. I didn't actually mean it. So don't you dare think about actually visiting us, okay? It would be annoying, and you aren't welcomed in our house. I can't believe it. Both you and my brother are the absolute worst. You better not think you can get away with such a selfish explanation. Say whatever you want, but we already have the house to ourselves, and we don't plan to give it away. Your making a fuss about it isn't gonna change anything. My mother was the one who paid for all the costs necessary for the construction of the house. Doesn't that mean she's the one who has rights over the property? I will have you leave the house immediately, so you better prepare yourselves. I won't let you get your way so easily. Ugh, you and your mother are so alike. I can't help but laugh. Both of you are really stupid. Did you really think that we hadn't thought it through beforehand? That won't work. What do you mean it won't work? There shouldn't be anything wrong with my logic. My mother owns the house, so she will be getting it back. I mean, you're right about the money. It was your mother who paid for all the expenses of the house. However, everything is registered under my husband's name and not your mother. You two don't have the rights to this house, nor do you have a say for what we do with it. So there's no way you can kick us out. Why isn't the house under my mother's name? Isn't it supposed to be registered under the name of the person who paid? I don't recall my brother paying anything, so it can't be under his name. You remember how we told your mother that we would pay her back the expenses sometime in the near future, right? When we said that, your mother mentioned that the house is supposed to become our property eventually. That's why she suggested registering the house under my husband's name instead of her own. She said that it would be better for us that way later on. I'm really thankful she did that for us. Thanks to her, the house is legally ours and she can't do anything about it. Well, you should at least pay her back the money she spent on the house. That house was only built under the promise that you would pay her back, wasn't it? If you insist on breaking the promise, you can't just keep the house to yourselves. That was only a verbal agreement, so I don't see why we should pay her back. It's not like we have any legal documents to prove that we agreed on such terms. Without a binding contract, there's no legal enforcement of the promise. So no, we won't be paying back a single cent. You are such a scumbag. What is up with you two? What is my mother to the two of you? I guess like a convenient wallet? But it seems like she doesn't have much money left, so I guess she isn't even useful as a wallet anymore. Too bad we couldn't get more out of her. That's the deal, so you should forget about getting us to pay. How can you say that? My mother is currently living off of her retirement fund alone. The money she used for your house was the money she inherited from my late father. Please give it back to her. That's all the savings she had left. Without it, my mother has no means to live a stable life in the last years. I don't care what you're trying to say. Did you really think that a sad backstory would persuade us to pay her back the money? There's no way that would work, you know. How dumb can you be? Ugh. That has nothing to do with either of us. She should have thought about that before paying for everything. Even if it has nothing to do with you directly, it should matter for my brother. This is his mother's future we're talking about. But really, how could you be so heartless? You're causing the problem for her. If that's the issue, I'll just have my husband cut all ties with your mother. That way, we're not related to her or her problems. Are we? From today onwards, we're unrelated. Do you realize how serious everything you're saying is? There is no way my brother would agree to that. Is your skull made of granite? I'm literally telling you he did agree to that, you dummy. He would never say that to me. Not a single time has he gone against my word. That's why he hasn't said anything after I kicked your mother out. I thought you'd realize that, but I guess you can't with that small brain of yours. So you're saying that both you and my brother are cutting all ties with my mother. In that case, no matter what happens to my mother, you two have no connection to her, right? Ugh, why are you making me repeat myself? That's what I've been saying all along. Have you been listening at all? You're really persistent. It's getting on my nerves. Now that we have the house in our possession, we can't be bothered to take care of your mother. We don't care enough to take care of her without a reason, so if you want someone to look after her, you can do that on your own. We have nothing to do with her anymore. All right. I guess that you won't be changing your mind no matter what I say on this matter. Are you sure you want to go through with this? There's no taking it back, even if you regret your decision later on. That's what I've said over and over. I'm tired of having to repeat myself. Keep in mind that I'll be cutting ties with you as well. I've had enough of talking with you. Stop whining over the same thing. It's getting very annoying. I get it. I won't say anything anymore. I mean, we're not family anymore, right? It's unfortunate how you won't pay my mother back, but I guess there isn't much we can do about it. I'm glad you finally seem to understand. By then, I won't be contacting you ever again. I hope you and your mother have a miserable life together. Have fun living in poverty! In the meantime, my husband and I will live happily in this brand new house. Hannah, where is your mom? I need you to get her back to our house now. What? Are you serious? Why do you suddenly want my mom to come back to your house after you treated her so poorly and kicked her out? Or do you have some plan to get more money for my mother? If that's the case, you don't need to bother because she's already penniless after being duped by a wonderful daughter-in-law like you. It's not like that. I really need her back here. Oh sure, you need a slave for your family. Like you said, she's too old to do the housework for you. That doesn't matter right now. Just answer my question. Where is your mother right now? I need her as soon as possible. Whoa, calm down. It's just like you said. She's moved into my place and we've been living together ever since you kicked her out. Moreover, you said you wanted nothing to do with my mother, didn't you? If that's the case, why do I need to take my mother there? Your house is a stranger's house to us. There's no way I'm doing that. Ugh, I don't care about that anymore. You can pretend we never cut ties in the first place. Do whatever you want. I just need you to bring your mother back to our house and return. I can't stand living like this any longer. Oh, so I see you finally realized your mistake. Did you finally understand how powerful my mother is? I expected you to give in much earlier, but you were able to endure the pressure longer than I imagined. What do you mean? You expected this? What are you trying to say? You seem to understand the situation for yourself, Jessica. I don't think I need to explain it to you, do I? How does it feel, living in complete isolation from your neighbors? How do you know I'm being isolated? I never told you that, did I? Well, I was the one who set up that situation for you, so of course I would know. It took a lot of time to prepare this, you know. I had to follow my mother, who was going around to bid goodbye to all the neighbors and explain her situation. What do you mean? You explained her situation? You mean you went around telling all the details of why your mother moved out? Exactly. You know how that area is. The suburbs, far from the city. That also means that the community is tight-knit. That makes it much easier for rumors like this to spread like wildfire. I knew that would happen once these rumors got out, and I thought I'd take the opportunity. It seems like I don't have to ask how things turned out in the end. What have you done to us? Did you know that there's been rumors going around the neighborhood saying that we kicked your mother out of the house? There's no way we can live here in peace anymore. How dare you put us down like this? A rumor is something that isn't true. All I did was accompany my mother when she was talking with the neighbors about what happened. It was your own actions that caused a problem in the first place. So if you're mad, you should be mad at your past self. We didn't do anything wrong. That doesn't mean you had to go this far. I can't believe we have to live like this just because of a simple rumor either. I mean, it's just a rumor. So why do we have to be treated this way? This is why I hate the countryside. I mentioned this before, but remember how a lot of the residents in that area are my mother's former students? Since my mother was quite old-fashioned, she would try to communicate with students in need whenever she had the chance. If a student seemed to have a problem, she wouldn't hesitate to make me talk to them individually. Eventually, she got to know her students very well. That's why a lot of them still rely on my mother as someone they can go to when in need. That's the kind of person my mother is. Do you think you could get away with nothing after treating her like that? That should be a story from back in the day, though. Now she's just a plain old hag in retirement. There's been quite a lot of people who've been helped by that hag in tough times. They say that they won't ever forget she helped them out. Some of her former students come to visit us to this day. Most of them have grown up to become remarkable individuals. Some are even CEOs of well-known companies, so she has many connections. You two decided to mock someone who was respected by so many people. Don't mess with me! I can't believe our lives are in misery because of an outdated person like her! This shouldn't be allowed. You two were the ones who put my mother's life into misery first. In fact, you guys went even further by refusing to pay her back on top of everything. Wouldn't you say that you put her through more misery than us, Jessica? And what if we did that? It doesn't matter. You know, paying her back was never a formal agreement anyways. Why do you keep complaining about such a thing? If that's your logic, there's no justification for your complaints either. All we did was tell people the truth. No! What you did to us is defamation. We'll sue both you and your mother for what you've done. So you better prepare yourselves. What we did is simply explain the reason why my mother was moving out when people asked us why she was leaving. If you think that's considered defamation, then we can't even have a regular conversation with other people. If you understand. Forget about the issue and accept the situation you're in. Did you think we would simply back down like that? We're being ostracized by the entire community, you know? How are we supposed to continue living like this? I don't know. My mother and I have moved out from the area, so it's not like we care. Good luck. Don't brush it off like that. Aren't we family? Please help us out. We really need it. Didn't you and my brother cut ties with us already? You guys are strangers to us, so there's no reason for us to help you out. I mentioned earlier that we would take that back, right? If you're still mad about the money for the house, we'll allow you guys to live here. Just help us immediately. Oh, we don't care about the house anymore, so no thank you. We plan to sue you for the issue anyways. What? What do you mean you'll sue us? Just like you mentioned, there was no official agreement about paying my mother back the expenses. Therefore, there's no legal enforcement regarding the promise you made with her. See? That's what I thought. So then it should be impossible for you to sue us for it. Well, what do you think would happen if that conversation was documented somewhere? Even if there was no binding contract, wouldn't you think that we could sue you for not keeping your promise? Are you trying to threaten us like that? There's no way you would have such evidence. The thing is, we actually do have evidence. You and your mother should have talked about money over the phone in the past. When you did that, didn't you call my mom's home phone? What if I did? Well, you know, my mother's getting old, and I get worried about her all the time. To feel safe, we changed the home phone to one that could record conversations just in case something happened. I went back and checked the audio recordings left on the phone, and found that the conversation between you and my mother was still saved on it. Wait, what? So, you're saying you can actually sue us? Exactly. We've been talking to a lawyer about the situation for a while now. It's only a matter of time until things are finalized and our lawyer reaches out to you two. Sooner or later, we'll have you pay back all the money you took from my mother. Wait a minute. Living here while all our neighbors hate us is quite a struggle on its own, you know. And now you're going to take our money on top of this? That's not a nice way to put it. You make it sound like we're in the wrong. I'm just having you return the money you stole from my mother. Is there a problem with what I'm doing? Of course there is. If you do that, we won't even be able to afford moving out of this uncomfortable place. Do you want us to continue living here while everyone looks down on us? Don't make me repeat myself. That's what I've been saying all along. Have you been listening at all? You two are the ones who decided to take advantage of my mother's kindness for your own good. You just got what you deserved. So prepare yourselves. My mother and I decided to sue my brother and Jessica for what they did to us. We have a voice recording of their conversation, but it wasn't enough proof to win the case. So we contacted some of their friends and asked them about the situation. It turned out that they had bragged about getting a free house from my mother and how they tricked her into signing it over to them. They had no intention of paying her back, and they thought they were smart for doing so. Their friends were shocked and disgusted by their behavior, and they agreed to testify against them in court. With their help, it was easy to prove their guilt and expose their lies. We managed to get some of the money back from them, but not all. My brother and Jessica are struggling now. They have no money, no friends, and no respect. The neighbors hate them for mistreating my mother, who was a kind and generous person. They shun them and gossip about them behind their backs. My sister-in-law and brother chose this path, so I don't care about them. They're not my family anymore. My mother and I moved to a bigger place, far away from them. We found a nice apartment in a quiet neighborhood where we can start fresh. We plan to live together and support each other, as we always have done. We are happy and grateful for each other, and we don't need anyone else.
Mom, I've noticed that many of my belongings have gone missing recently, and some of them have even been completely destroyed. I was wondering if you happen to know where they are, or who might be responsible for these incidents.
Your belongings? What belongings are you referring to exactly?
You know, items like my makeup, clothing, jewelry, and similar things. I can't figure out why they've been mysteriously disappearing lately. To make matters worse, I discovered some of them completely ruined after a few days. I genuinely had no idea what happened to my stuff. I distinctly remember putting them in their proper places.
Oh, you're talking about those things. I actually gave them to Suzanne, your stepsister. You see, she's only 10 years old and has a natural curiosity about everything. She kept asking to borrow your stuff, and it was extremely hard for me to say no to her. I mean, just look at her. She's incredibly sweet and innocent. I didn't want to upset her, roar in tears and throw tantrums whenever her requests aren't fulfilled.
Seriously? You gave them to Suzanne? How could you do that? Those belongings are mine, and it's my right to decide what happens to them. You can't just hand them over to Suzanne without asking my permission first. You're already aware of how destructive she can be. I'm sorry to say this, but I really don't want her to get near any of my belongings at all. Have you even considered how many of my things she has actually destroyed?
Maggie, please try to show a bit more generosity towards Suzanne. Remember, she's your stepsister, which means she's a part of our family. She deserves to be treated with love and care just like everyone else. Besides, let's not forget about the challenges she's faced in her childhood. Your stepfather left both me and Suzanne shortly after her birth, and she rarely gets to spend time with her father. Why can't you have some more sympathy for my poor daughter?
Mom, I understand that Suzanne has had a difficult childhood, but you can't just keep using it as an excuse for her ill-mannered behavior. She's 10 years old now, and she should be aware of her actions. It's important for her to learn when to stop asking for things that she shouldn't have. If she makes mistakes, she needs to be held accountable for them. Continuously overindulging Suzanne like this will only lead to her becoming spoiled and potentially engaging in even more inappropriate conduct.
Enough with your prejudice against my daughter. Why are you so cruel to her? Is it because she's your stepsister, so you think you can freely bully her however you please? Is that your twisted motive? I'm deeply disappointed in you, Maggie. I never expected you to be so petty and vindictive.
Mom, am I not your daughter too? Why are you accusing me of bullying Suzanne? Seriously? I'm just trying to help her. She's only 10 years old, and her behavior is already problematic. If we don't do something now, she's gonna end up a worse person when she grows up.
Oh, please stop blowing everything out of proportion like that. The way you talk, it's like you think Suzanne will turn into a criminal or something really bad in the future.
Am I blowing everything out of proportion? No, I'm not, Mom. Can you recall our last trip to the supermarket? If you do, I bet you still remember how Suzanne screamed, cursed, threw punches at you, or pushed the shopping cart into your legs all because she wanted you to buy her that new phone model.
Are you seriously blaming her for that? You do understand that she was simply acting her age, right? It's common for kids to seek their parents' attention in that way. She was just being adorable and needy, so there's no need to make it seem like the end of the world or anything like that. Remember, not everyone is as old and grumpy as you. Especially not my precious daughter, Suzanne.
Defending her like that, despite how badly Suzanne behaved? She's just a 10-year-old child, and it's not appropriate for her to demand such an expensive item. And you gave in so easily. After initially refusing her request, you ended up purchasing it using my money. Do you even realize what that money was intended for, right? It was meant for our daily expenses, not for frivolous purchases like a new phone for Suzanne. Now that you spent all the money I provided, where on earth do we find the means to pay for our everyday bills?
Well, all you have to do is send me more money and everything will be resolved. What's the fuss about?
Send you more money? Are you being serious? I'm not some sort of money-making machine or your personal ATM. Instead of asking me for more money, why don't you consider taking back that phone from Suzanne and selling it for some cash? She doesn't even need that new phone in the first place. She's still too young, and shouldn't have excessive access to mobile phones or any other technological devices.
Taking back that phone from Suzanne? Absolutely not. She's my daughter and she deserves nothing but the finest, and no one, not even you or me, is allowed to deprive her of anything. Look at you going around acting as if the measly sum you send me each month is some sort of significant contribution. I can't believe you'd exaggerate over such a pitiful amount of money. It's nothing more than pocket change, really. So stop acting so entitled and high and mighty towards your own mother.
Do you even realize that I've been contributing nearly 95% of my salary towards this household? Sure, maybe you believe that what I give you each month isn't sufficient. However, that so-called pocket change is what covers all the family's bills, buys the food you consume daily, and let's not forget the lavish phone you purchased for Suzanne using that very same pocket change. It's safe to say that you're pretty much living off my salary, so I do believe I deserve a bit of gratitude from you.
What? Gratitude? Aren't you forgetting something? You are my daughter, so it's only natural for you to take care of me and Suzanne because we're your family. Don't act so self-centered and arrogant. Just accept it. You're simply jealous because I don't love you as much as I love Suzanne.
Well, if you love her so much, then why am I always the one who has to come to Suzanne's rescue when she gets herself in trouble at school? Honestly, I'm exhausted from constantly being burdened with the responsibility of dealing with Suzanne's misbehavior. Do you have any idea what she's been doing to her friends? She takes delight in tormenting them. She lies to get other children in trouble. She would sometimes play pranks by hiding their school bags, books, or other belongings. She even goes as far as kicking, hitting, or spitting at them for her own amusement. Do you think behaviors are acceptable for a 10-year-old child?
Oh, Maggie. Suzanne was just expressing her affection towards her friends at school. And you know that, right? Suzanne has always had a unique personality compared to other kids her age, but that's perfectly normal. In fact, children who are somewhat eccentric often grow up to become talented and accomplished individuals. That's how geniuses are made, isn't it?
No, Mom, that's not how geniuses are made at all. That's how criminals are made. When will you finally open your eyes and see the truth about Suzanne? Fine. If she ends up becoming a total disaster, Don't come back to me claiming that I didn't warn you about it firsthand.
Maggie, I've had enough of your nonsense. Why don't you stop sticking your nose where it doesn't belong and mind your own business? You're always bad-mouthing your sister like she's some sort of criminal. She's just a kid, for heaven's sake. She doesn't even comprehend the consequences of her actions.
I'm telling you, you're completely fooled by Suzanne. Suzanne knows her actions are wrong, but she does them anyway because she takes pleasure in doing them.
No, I didn't expect such hostility towards your own family. Had I known, I would have considered giving you up for adoption a long time ago. I made a grave error bringing you into this world, but thankfully I redeemed myself by giving life to a flawless girl like Suzanne. Consider yourself lucky that I even allow you to share the same air as me and Suzanne. You are beneath us in every way, and you should be grateful for any scraps of attention we deign to give you.
Hey, useless cow. I know it's lunchtime now, and I'm sure you're enjoying your lunch, right?
Oh, it's you, Suzanne. Yes, it's my lunch break, and I'm savoring my meal. Is there something you wanted to tell me?
And have you devoured your entire meal already?
Yes. I'm just about to pop entire lunch. What's the matter?
Well, just a friendly reminder, I've put a little extra ingredient in your food. It's nothing major, seriously. I just happened to, tamper with your lunch by adding the strongest laxative on the market. In just a short time, you feel the cramps, nausea, dehydration, and start to vomit uncontrollably. And of course, how can we forget about the best part of it all? Constant diarrhea!
What? Why would you do this to me? You're the worst, Suzanne!
You're as gullible as ever, Maggie. I was just pulling your leg, so there's no need to be so uptight. Relax and learn to have a sense of humor once in a while.
That was not an appropriate joke. When are you gonna give up on lying to people around you for your own amusement? Your lies have gotten everyone around you into trouble, including friends at school. Stop stirring up trouble wherever you go. If you keep doing this, don't count on me to come to your aid and clean up your messes next time.
Who do you think you are to lecture me like that, little worm? Mom doesn't even dare to touch a single hair on my head, let alone you. You are just my personal servant. My lapdog, a doormat to be walked all over. So, know your place. If you behave yourself like a good little dog, I might consider throwing you a bone or two as a reward for your loyalty.
Suzanne, you're overstepping boundaries. Being Mom's favorite doesn't grant you the privilege to act however you please. If Mom can't guide you to become a better person, I'm glad to step in on her behalf. I'll help you understand the consequences of your actions and hold you accountable for the troubles and harm you inflict on others.
Yeah, try me, old cow. See what you can do to me. I swear, even dare lay a finger on me, I'll tell Mom about it, and I guarantee she'll make your life a living hell. You know Mom always takes my side no matter what, right? I bet you still remember what happened that time when you were carrying that heavy box full of gardening tools.
What? You're bringing that up now, you little demon? I got severely injured and hospitalized just because of your sick joke.
Yeah, right. I stretched out my leg, tripped you down the stairs, and made you fall flat on your face. I must say, that was definitely a sight to behold. And what did Mom do when you tried to convince her that I was the one who intentionally caused you that fall? She yelled at you, blaming you for being clumsy and dropping the box. That's right. At the end of the day, Suzanne always gets what she wants, and Mag is always the one who has to take the blow.
You know what? Your behavior, Suzanne, is that of a spoiled brat, and it needs to come to an end. I know that Mom has been giving you access to my room without my knowledge. That's why I've already changed the lock on the door to prevent you from entering and causing damage to my belongings any longer. Moreover, I'll also reclaim the phone that Mom purchased for you using my own money. You may have it back once you show genuine efforts to change and become a better person.
What? You're going to deprive me of my new phone? No way in hell am I going to let you do that. You filthy little piece of trash. That's my phone. Mom gave it to me, which means it's my property. If you even dare to lay one of your filthy fingers on it, I'll make you pay a dear price.
I already told you, Mom bought this phone using my hard-earned money. That money should have been used for essential needs like food, water, and electricity. Do you want our family to starve or freeze to death?
Why should I even care about you useless morons? You're the one working and making all the money in this family, so figure it out yourselves. Whatever you do, don't even think about taking my phone away from me, or else I'll make you suffer like you've never felt before.
Maggie, what got into you yesterday? Who do you think you are to treat your own sister like that? I swear if it was back in the old days, you'd have been hanged or left to rot in the woods for mistreating your own family.
What are you talking about? I simply took away her phone because I think she's been overusing it. It's not good for young children to have too much screen time. Do you know how long she's been using that phone these days? Nearly 18 hours a day. I was just protecting her, and taking away her phone was really doing her a big favor.
I told you that phone belongs to my daughter, so you had no right to take it away from her. Why do you always have to disobey me? When will you stop acting like a vile witch to your own family?
I can't believe that you still continue to defend Suzanne without question. You saw with your own eyes what she did to me when she found out her phone was gone. She completely lost it.
What do you even mean? Her behavior was completely typical for a 10-year-old child. There's absolutely no reason to make such a fuss about it.
Typical for a 10-year-old child? She literally flipped the table, screaming and sobbing. When I used my most composed voice to tell her to calm down, she lunged at me, grabbed my leg, bit me, and tore off flesh. She tore flesh from my calf! Did you know that I had to go to the hospital to get stitches for that? The doctors even thought I was attacked by some kind of animal.
Oh, please, boo-hoo. Now you're making a mountain out of a molehill. What Suzanne did to you was merely a minor scratch. I bet it doesn't even hurt one bit. Stop one bit. Stop being such a crybaby. You're a grown adult, so please start acting like one for goodness sake.
What? If it's a minor scratch, as you said, why did I even need stitches for that? Not only did you not protect me from her ferocious attack, you even gave me a vigorous slap on my face. You didn't even care one bit about me. Instead, you conveniently came to Suzanne, trying to soothe her and asking if she wanted ice cream. Really? After she went all crazy on me? I'm telling you, Suzanne's behavior is escalating, and it'll continue to worsen if she's consistently indulged in this manner.
You're the one who's being crazy here, Maggie. I explicitly warned you to keep your hands off of her and not to harm her in any way. Yet you went and deprived her of her cell phone. What is that supposed to mean? I see. Simply because I used the money you provided to purchase that phone, you believe you have the right to take it away from my daughter whenever you please. Such a selfish and nasty little witch.
Why don't you try to understand my perspective? I clearly explained that the money was meant to cover essential expenses, not to be spent recklessly on an extravagant and costly phone.
How dare you accuse your own mother? Do you think you're some kind of judge around here? Let me shake some sense into you. You're a member of this family, which means that your money is also my money. It's common sense. Even a 3-year-old would understand this. Listen up, just because you have a job and earn a paltry sum of money doesn't make you superior to anyone in this family. So quit acting as if you're the matriarch of this household, barking orders and trying to assert control like some sort of maniac.
Do you even hear the words coming out of your own mouth? It's both you and Suzanne who are behaving irrationally, not me.
Irrationally? How dare you use such a vulgar and abusive word to describe your own mother and sister? I wish I could just go back in time and get rid of you while you were still a fetus in my womb. Do you know how stressful it is to have a failed child like you? You're only half what could have become. All the time and effort I've invested in raising you has gone down the drain. You know why? It's because you grew up to be nothing more than a disappointment, a weight dragging down our entire family.
What on earth are you going on about? How did I suddenly become a weight dragging down our entire family, when I'm the one shouldering the financial burden single-handedly, covering almost all the expenses in our household? Can you explain the logic behind this twisted accusation? It's utterly baffling how you can overlook my significant contributions and instead vilify me.
Oh, please, spare me your hourly lectures on how you're the sole provider of our family. Do you seriously have to rub it in our faces every 5 minutes? It's starting to get really old. Do you know that I have headaches every single time you brag about how much money you make? You know what? I've had enough. I'm evicting you from this house. You're no longer welcome here. You're all used up. That's why I want you gone.
What? You're seriously kicking me out of the house? Do you really mean that?
Yeah, you heard me loud and clear. What's the purpose of breathing the same air with a lowlife who earns so little, yet deludes herself into thinking she's the queen of the household? And what's even more sickening is that a lowlife like you had the nerve to treat your own mother and sister like dirt. You make me sick, Maggie. I can't stand the sight of your repulsive face for another minute in this house. So pack your bags and get out immediately. Don't waste any more time.
Seriously, I have done absolutely nothing wrong to deserve this. In fact, I'm the victim here, remember? Your daughter viciously attacked me.
Yada yada. Too much talking. I've had enough of your endless excuses. I don't want to hear any more of it. Since I know you're not home, I decided to save you some time and trouble by tossing all your worthless belongings into the dumpster. Maybe, just maybe if you're lucky, you can scavenge them from the front of the house when you return from work. That's if the garbage collectors haven't taken them away already.
You're crazy, Mom. And you just conveniently took my belongings without asking about it and just threw it outside? All of them?
Well, obviously not. I've kept anything that appears to have some potential use, but I did discard everything I considered to be trash and utterly useless. That includes you, of course.
You really are determined to kick me out of the house, aren't you? Fine, then I'm leaving. And I won't be coming back. So don't even think of reaching out to me if any troubles arise for you or Suzanne.
Reaching out to you? Please spare me the laughter. Why would I even consider lowering myself to maintain any contact with trash like you? Do you honestly believe that we would starve without your presence? Think again! Suzanne's father still provides child support every month and will manage just fine without you. From this point forward, we are complete strangers. I'm severing all ties with you and I have no desire to see or hear from you ever again. Consider this a strict warning. You're not permitted to set foot inside my house. Is that crystal clear to you? Well, Maggie, how have you been doing all this time? I suppose you must have missed your old lady and little girl terribly, haven't you?
Monica, what do you want from me now? I thought you said you were done with me and didn't want to hear from me again. So why are you contacting me now?
Oh, what? I can't believe how cold you're being to your own mother. We haven't spoken in a few years and you already don't consider me your mother anymore?
Just cut to the chase and tell me what you want from me. I don't have much time for your nonsense.
Are you seriously talking to your own mother with this kind of attitude? How rude of you. I'm really disappointed in you. Anyways, I heard that you started earning a large sum of money these days and your financial situation has improved significantly. Well done! What have you been doing to become so successful?
Well, I recently got promoted to the position of marketing manager. But I'm curious, how did you come to know about my financial situation?
Well, it's not exactly a secret, you know. I reached out to some of your friends and they informed me about it. They even mentioned that you're earning a 6-figure salary annually. It's quite unbelievable, really. How could someone like you achieve such remarkable success?
What's wrong with someone like me? It appears that I'm not the failure you claimed me to be, am I?
Oh, well, don't be so big-headed. Can't you see the bigger picture? Your current affluent lifestyle is only possible because I made the decision to kick you out of the house. You should be grateful for that, if anything.
What on earth are you talking about? Why would I feel any gratitude towards the person who evicted me and blindly defended her daughter, despite the fact that she was the one who launched a vicious attack against me?
Stop playing dumb. We all know that you decided to work harder and earn more money only after I forced you to move out of the house. It's all thanks to me that you got where you are today. In other words, I'm the reason for your current success. What can I say, Maggie? I'm glad I could assist you on your way to success. Now let's get straight to the point. I want you to repay me for my help, starting by moving back in with me and Suzanne.
Move back in with you? Are you out of your mind?
What's the matter? I can sense that you're desperately longing to reunite with me and your sister, aren't you? Perhaps living alone and being separated from us all these years has taken a toll on your sanity. I genuinely feel sorry for you, Maggie.
Why would I even consider reuniting with you when you're the one who heartlessly evicted me from the house in the first place? Not only that, you even blindly sided with Suzanne and shielded her despite her being in the wrong. Your actions towards me were utterly unacceptable and unforgivable. I will never forgive or forget what you did.
Oh, please, that was ages ago, and honestly, I don't even recall the details. It's about time you forgave me for that. Look, I'm sorry for kicking you out of the house. I was really stressed out at the time and I couldn't help myself. I assure you, such an occurrence will never repeat itself. So, would you consider moving back in with me and Suzanne now? I mean, you have considerable wealth now, don't you? Instead of squandering it on frivolous things, why not invest it in your own family?
Look, Mom, I have no intentions of moving back in with you and Suzanne. Currently, I am living with my fiancé in a penthouse apartment, and we also have a beachfront villa for our vacations. Therefore, I don't see any need for me to return and live with you.
What? You have a fiancé? Well, I suppose that's not the most pressing matter right now. What I'm more interested in is the penthouse apartment. It must be really spacious, isn't it? How about this? Suzanne and I will move in and live together with you and your fiancé. Let's all live together as one big family.
What on earth are you talking about? What about the house that my father gave you as inheritance?
Well, the thing is, the house is not my property anymore. It belongs to someone else now.
What do you mean? What happened?
Well, it's a long story, but Suzanne got herself into trouble and I had to sell the house to pay compensation for the victim's family.
What do you mean by victim's family? What exactly happened?
Well, one day Suzanne got into a conflict with another girl at her school, and in the heat of anger, she impulsively pushed her friend down the stairs. Unfortunately, her friend suffered a severe spinal injury, resulting in paralysis from the neck down. But seriously, it's nothing major, really. It's not even fault. She was just being a little playful and all. You know, she's only 13 years old. She's still exploring the world, and she hasn't yet been able to comprehend the consequences of her actions.
How can you say that what Suzanne did was nothing major? She caused a serious injury to her friend that took away her mobility. She literally destroyed her friend's future, and it's a heinous crime.
I couldn't care less about the child. She's just some dumb kid who was stupid enough to mess with Suzanne. But they're planning to put Suzanne in a juvenile detention facility. I can't believe they would even think of doing that to my poor girl. Please, Maggie, can you do something to prevent that from happening? I can't let those barbarians take away my daughter. She's just a little girl. She doesn't deserve to be treated like that.
Seriously? You're still trying to help your precious daughter escape the punishment she deserves? Wake up and face reality. Suzanne needs to face the consequences of her own actions. That's the only way she's gonna learn. I'm not gonna help you or Suzanne, because it's not my problem anymore. You and Suzanne wronged me, and now it's your turn to pay for your sins. Finally, Suzanne was placed in a youth detention center, but she refused to accept her circumstances. She caused trouble and attempted to escape. But unfortunately, she ended up picking a fight with kids who were significantly larger and stronger than her. Unlike my previous tolerance towards her insolent behavior, they did not hesitate to teach her a valuable lesson or two. After selling the house, Monica found herself without a place to stay. Unfortunately, she made the decision to receive the child support for Suzanne from her ex-husband in a single lump sum, which she imprudently squandered on their own selfish desires. This left her with nothing remaining in her pocket. I'm currently living a fulfilling life with my fiancé, who will soon become my husband by the end of this as we celebrate our wedding. Alongside a flourishing career, I also received a substantial inheritance from my late father. From now on, my main focus will be on living for myself and the people who genuinely appreciate my worth.